After giving this a lot of thought, I am still holding out hope that Syracuse football will make a bowl in 2025.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and we are always free and available wherever you get your podcast. And on this week's Poll Friday, I asked you all the question, what is your updated Syracuse football 2025 win prediction? Currently, the Orange sit at 3-2. They lost the season opener down in Atlanta, Georgia against Tennessee. Then they followed that up with 3 consecutive wins. They came back against UConn at home. They took care of Colgate at home. Then they go into Death Valley and they beat the Clemson Tigers for the first time in program history on the road to sit at 3-1. Then, of course, last week was the debacle against the Duke Blue Devils. That's how Syracuse has gotten to 3-2 at this moment. And there were about 250 votes on this week's Poll Friday question, and the choices were 8 or 9 wins, which would be amazing at this point for Syracuse, 6 to 7 wins, which means Syracuse football makes a bowl, 4 to 5 wins, which means Syracuse narrowly misses a bowl. And then, of course, you got the last choice, and I sincerely hope that this does not happen, which is 3 wins. That would mean that Syracuse football does not win another game from here on out. It would essentially be, hey, Syracuse won at Clemson and then went nosedive directly after that. The results are in. And before I get into the results, most of you either have this as a fringe bowl team or just making a bowl this season. In first place, 6 to 7 wins, over 50% of you all said that. 4 to 5 wins was in second place at 35%, followed by 8+ wins in third place. And then in last place, thankfully, you guys, for the most part, don't believe Syracuse is going to lose out at 3 wins. So most of you, again, agree that 4 to 7 wins at this point is a pretty fair expectation for Syracuse football in this regular season. And it's nice to see, of the people that voted, of course, that you seem to be still optimistic, despite what happened last week and how poorly they played, that this team can still make a bowl in 2025. Now, if you've been following along this podcast by now, you know that I'm a straight shooter. I try to look at things optimistically, but I call it like how I see it, whether I am right about something or whether or not I'm dead wrong about something. And I've been right and I've been wrong before plenty of times here on Locked On Syracuse. And hopefully I am not wrong with what I'm about to say. And what I'm about to say is, at the very top of the show, I still think that this team is going to make a bowl this season. I have them in that 6 to 7 win category. The first reason I believe this is because I do believe we're going to see a better Syracuse football offense against SMU. And there's a couple of reasons why I believe this. First and foremost, the offense and Rickie Collins, they now have another week of preparation. Last time, it was the first career collegiate start for Rickie Collins. So you want to give him a break for that one, that's fine. This is now his second start. So hopefully the offense and everyone, including Rickie Collins, can just play much better this week with another full week of practice. Secondly, it comes down to SMU and what has happened to them this season, which is the fact that they have the worst secondary right now in the ACC. They do. They have the worst pass defense in the conference. They've played 4 games. They have allowed a bajillion yards through the air this season. And so even though I am not picking Syracuse to win against SMU on Saturday, I do think we're going to see a better Syracuse offense, and hopefully that better Syracuse offense can translate over the course of the rest of the season. Now, what do you think? Do you think that Syracuse is going to make a bowl in 2025? And why do you feel that way? Do you feel that they're going to make it Why or why not? Comment your thoughts in the comments section below. Coming up, I'll tell you another reason why I believe this team is going to make a bowl this season. So stick with me here on Locked On Syracuse. You can just move through life, or you can find the things that move you. It's your choice. You could choose to get out there, choose your people. You could choose to go for it, like really go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. And I wish I could give this out to Syracuse for their performance last week against Duke, but I have to give it to Duke and Nate Shepherd, who delivered in a fantastic way, multiple scores, well over 100 yards, a breakout performance for Duke running back Nate Shepherd against Syracuse. And just like Nate Shepherd delivered for the Duke Blue Devils against our beloved Syracuse Orange, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Locked On Syracuse, I'm Jackson Holzer. On this week's Poll Friday, I asked you all the question, what is your updated Syracuse football 2025 win prediction? The Orange currently sit at 3-2, meaning they need to win at least 3 of their final 7 regular season games to qualify for a bowl in 2025. And I do believe that this team will still win between 6 to 7 regular season games. And the first reason I gave earlier in the show is because I do think that on Saturday against SMU, we are going to see a better Syracuse offense. And hopefully that will translate over the rest of the 2025 season. So that was reason number 1. The second reason why I believe this team will make a bowl in 2025 is because in the Fran Brown era, this team has showcased numerous times that they are very capable of punching above their perceived weight. Now, we know the big examples. Last year against Miami, and then obviously this year against Clemson on the road. Now, we'll find out, I guess, how good or bad Clemson really is over the rest of 2025. But at the time, that was a pretty big upset by Syracuse. And they didn't just beat Clemson. They flat out dominated Clemson in that game. But there are plenty of other examples where Syracuse punched above their perceived weight. You go back to last year, winning on the road at UNLV. They were a decent size underdog in that game. I believe it was about 4 to 5 points. And also earlier in the year where they had Georgia Tech coming to the Dome and everyone was like, Georgia Tech, they're really good this year. They're ready to take the next step. And Syracuse promptly beat them at home the second week of the season, what I like to call the first signature win of the Fran Brown era, because that was the first ranked win of the Fran Brown era. And as we have discussed plenty of times of this show, even when Fran Brown's teams have lost over the past couple of years, it never really seems to be that they were scared of the moment. And that includes last week. I don't think Syracuse lost to Duke last week because they were scared. They were frightened. It wasn't that. It was just because they flat out, they were flat. That's the best way to put it. They were flat against Duke. They had a couple of breaks go against them, and then it just snowballed. It was a snowball effect. They could not recover the rest of the game. And I say all this because if you take a look at Syracuse's schedule, you will definitely see that there are at least 2 very winnable games. They're not guaranteed wins, Okay. I'm not going to sit here and try to give anyone bulletin board material. These are not guaranteed wins, but hey, Syracuse on Halloween, they're going to play North Carolina at home. And then to end the regular season, they're going to play Boston College at home. You take a look at the standings, those are not exactly ACC powerhouses this season. Those are very winnable for Syracuse. That would put them at 5 wins if, and it's a big if, they can win both those games. But you still got to win one more to make a bye, or not make a bye, to make a bowl, I should say. And those teams are SMU, which is on Saturday tomorrow. You got Pitt at home, at Georgia Tech, at Miami, and at Notre Dame. And I don't think Syracuse, I don't think this is a hot take here, I don't think Syracuse is going to be favored in any of those games. In fact, in some of those games, they are definitely going to be at least a 2-touchdown underdog in them. But as Fran Brown has demonstrated at Syracuse before, they have pulled off the unexpected. So with all that being said, I do see this team winning 6 to 7 regular season games from here on out. And I really do hope overall that Syracuse just performs better against SMU. Obviously, I think all of us as Syracuse fans want to see the team win at SMU tomorrow, but they need to just play better in all facets of the game. It really can't get much worse than what happened last week against Duke. Now, I say all that to say this. If Syracuse lays another egg tomorrow against SMU, and fingers crossed that they don't, but if they do, it's going to be hard for me to continue to try to make a case that this is a bowl in 2025, or that this is a bowl team in 2025. But what do you think? Do you think Syracuse is a bowl team this season? Comment your thoughts in the comments section below. As far as what's coming up on this podcast here in the near future, tomorrow is game day. Syracuse at SMU at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. There will be a full post-game reaction podcast here on Locked On Syracuse. And then on Sunday, we got our fan reaction podcast. On Monday, we got our big picture takeaways podcast into Syracuse football's bye week. So all that and more coming up on Locked On Syracuse in the near future. And folks, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this podcast, be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoy the podcast, be sure to hit subscribe. Tell all your friends about Locked On Syracuse, and I'll see you all again after the game.